Ladies and gentlemen, clench those cheeks, because for today, we have an absolutely incredible Kingdom Hearts 3 mod that I know is going to get all of you excited. Probably one of the biggest undertakings in regards to a custom piece of Kingdom Hearts content, and I know specifically for Final Fantasy XV, but more so Final Fantasy Versus XIII fans, this is the cherry on top, baby. We're going to be taking a look at a Kingdom Hearts 3 Insomnia City mod for the game. This is created by Larxian. I've been following this project for quite some time now. It has been in development for, I believe, around about a year and is still currently in development. It might actually be some time before we actually see a public release of this mod, but it absolutely blows me away, mainly because when we look at something like an entirely new world or new playable map or space for Kingdom Hearts 3, in regards to mods like that, they're not really all too common. Insomnia City is special though. It was depicted to us in those early Versus XIII trailers that this is going to be one of the major locations that you'll be able to explore. When we eventually got Final Fantasy XV, while yes, Insomnia City was present in the game, it was a very small piece of it in comparison to those early Versus XIII trailers. This is something that upset a lot of fans, and in response, Square Enix ended up creating a more expanded version of Insomnia that you could explore towards the end of the game within the Royal Edition for 15. However, the biggest portion of Insomnia City that players were able to explore was in the Episode Arden DLC. Still, not as expansive as what we once saw, and we also didn't get to see the Kalem Via, a very famous location that was shown off a lot within the Versus XIII trailers, where we see, of course, Noctis and Stella. It is something of a fever dream to be able to explore Insomnia City for Versus XIII fans, and in a weird way, by an official means, I guess we sort of are getting that with Kingdom Hearts 4. We know that a lot of Tetsuya Nomura's original ideas that he had for Versus XIII are finally going to start being funneled into Kingdom Hearts, funnily enough, and in a weird way, Quadratum is a different version of Insomnia. However, fans still talk about that original Insomnia to this day, and that dream is soon to become an actual reality. The idea of this mod is to essentially make a brand new world in Kingdom Hearts 3, which is Insomnia City, to give players an Insomnia that is expanded, where you can seamlessly traverse the city, explore a decent portion of it beyond what we even saw in Episode Arden, as if you are playing something like Versus XIII. I've been in contact with Larxian talking about the project, basically what he intends to do with this project, what are some of the key features, and he's provided me with a lot of information and context towards exactly what this is. There's maybe a good chance here that some of you guys have actually stumbled across this, but you want to learn just a little bit more about it and what exactly it is going to offer. I also need to stress just how much of an undertaking this mod is. It is quite literally just Larxian working on this with a little bit of help from Aprodoidix, who is very well known in the Kingdom Hearts mod community. They're responsible for, of course, the amazing Kingdom Hearts 3 Olympus Coliseum mod. So first off, we should show the comparison here between the Insomnia that is present within Episode Arden, the largest portion of the city available in Final Fantasy XV, to that of the intended playable space here for the world in KH3. You can see it is huge. Basically, Larxian has imported the map that is present within Episode Arden into the Unreal Engine 4. From there, has gone ahead and added a whole bunch of new buildings and playable spaces, like a lot of new playable spaces. This is obviously a big undertaking though, because for all of those outer areas that are not accessible within Arden's version of Insomnia, they do not have any collision. This of course means that Larxian has to go forth and create a lot of new collision detection for all of those outer city portions. Not only that though, from a distance, while the city does look good, when you get up close, all of the buildings and stuff, as they're just simply used as backdrop, are of a incredibly low quality. And there is essentially nothing there, because the player was never intended to see any of those parts of the city outside the playable limit. Larxian has recreated all of the materials from scratch, so, you know, basically seeing all the materials that are present within that map, he actually had to go ahead and recreate them himself so he could then start reusing those very same materials to further craft and expand the city. A bunch of new buildings have been added into the city on top of ones that you already see present within the map. Stuff like advertisement signs from Kingsglaive that weren't originally in the game's version of the city have been recreated and put into this map. And even a lot of those different billboards and signs from the destroyed version of Insomnia after the invasion have actually been cleaned up to look brand new again. There are even brand new assets that have been put into the city as well, in reference to that of something like Verum Rex. I think it's important to show off one of the clips here from Larxian's live streams, as he does development live streams of building the map, which are super interesting. This shows you a before and after of the original map, what it looks like, and then the progress and work that he did with actually fleshing it out and adding to it with the collision, with brand new assets. This man is literally ripping up the backdrop streets and inputting proper streets, you know, with the hedges, with different lighting sources, with the rubbish bins, placing each individual tree that you see. The two most important locations though within Insomnia are the Citadel, obviously the home of that of the royal family, where of course the Crystal of Lucius is kept, as well as the Calum Via, the famous hotel location that we see both Noctis and Stellar in within early Versus XIII trailers. These are massive focus points for the mod, allowing the player to finally be able to explore all of the interiors within both of these locations, and more importantly the Calum Via, as this was never put into Final Fantasy XV. Here you can see some footage of it fleshed out and recreated, and this right here is like the fever dream for Versus XIII fans. And it also makes me think too that, like, no doubt this will likely also be a location that will be resurrected for that of Quadratum in Kingdom Hearts 4. This is a famous Tetsuya Nomura location. But in regards to the Citadel, a lot of this is going to be explorable too. A lot of those rooms that we saw within something like Kingsglaive, as well as the different locations that you actually got to explore within 15, like the throne room or the boardroom. Even the crystal chamber is in here as well. You're going to be able to fully explore it. Another little interesting development tidbit here, going the extra mile to add on to the detail of something like the Citadel, is in Final Fantasy XV, like in the actual game, when you're looking out the windows while you're in the Citadel, they're all opaque. They're not actually transparent. You can't actually see the city off in the distance while you're in this massive skyscraper. So Larxian's actually gone ahead and changed all the windows so that you can actually see the surrounding outside city. Very impressive work. Now, Larxian has told me that they basically want this to be an additional new world for Kingdom Hearts 3. That's essentially what he's aiming for it to feel official and for it to feel polished, hence why this mod is taking so long. And of course, it's really only one person with a little bit of assistance working on this. But because of this, Larxian is planning on traveling to this world via normal means, not actually having to use a mod menu. They want it to feel natural and official. So in that sense, they do plan on putting some kind of portal into the main game. You access that portal, you're then transported to Insomnia. The other idea here, and they're not too sure if they will be able to get this to work, is to actually chuck the world into the gummy ship system so that you literally fly to Insomnia as if you were to fly to any other world in KH3. We have seen this already done in KH3 via a mod that is, of course, Caleb's Traverse Town mod, so it totally is possible. Now, one thing though that should be mentioned, and I feel like for Larxian's sake of things, just to sort of temper expectations here, is Larxian's field of expertise is 3D modeling and level design. In regards to scripting and programming, this isn't something that Larxian is too familiar with, because you're probably thinking about things like custom events or interactables or just things to do in this world. Now, Larxian has actually written out a story scenario, like some proper lore for this. However, in regards to actually fleshing out a proper campaign, isn't sure that something like that would be possible. However, ideally, if the mod does get big enough and can garner more assistance towards it, something like a custom campaign with actual cutscenes and actual scenarios and events with combat could very well be likely. Now, we do know, as I mentioned, that Aprodoidix is currently helping out Larxian. As I was mentioning, he is responsible for that of the Olympus Coliseum mod that has a ton of custom scripting. It is essentially an arena system within Kingdom Hearts 3. Comes down to how much time Apro has though, because he's got a life of his own and works on his own projects. But Larxian has stressed to me that they definitely do not want people's expectations to go through the roof, expecting all of this crazy stuff. Really, just at this point, it is primarily for the sake of kind of feeling like an official, polished world, more so aimed towards exploration, specifically for Final Fantasy Versus XIII fans that never got that version of Insomnia that we were originally supposed to get with that vision of the game. However, though, there are going to be some things like NPCs, so there will be NPCs from the world of 15 and Versus 13 sort of wandering around, like you might be able to find Noctis up in the throne room and actually talk to him. He might actually give you some lore-related context towards things. You'll also be able to explore the city in daytime or nighttime, so you'll be able to actually talk to one of the hosts within the Calum Via Hotel and skip the time of day to either night or day. Things will also change depending on what the time of day is in regards to the placement of NPCs. So at night, for example, you'll be able to find Noctis and Stella in Calum Via. Another thing that Larxian is wanting to do is the actual invasion of Insomnia, as this world is set during a time just before the invasion. They actually do want a little bit of a scenario where you can skip to that of the time of midnight, and during then, that is of course when the invasion ensues. This would then create some sort of Battlegate type minigame where you have to defeat as many Heartless as possible within a set time limit. Because the map is so big too, there is also a transportation system. You can find the Regalia parked in different locations and interact with it. You don't get to drive it, so don't get too excited, but you can interact with it to teleport around different locations of the city. So that essentially sums up the idea and concept of what this mod is for the time being, at least. It is a huge undertaking, and by and large, this will be the biggest new playable space for Kingdom Hearts. The other side that's really cool though is this kind of gives us a vibe of like what it will be like to explore something like Quadratum when we finally do get Kingdom Hearts 4. We're going to be exploring an environment that is essentially like this, and that Quadratum is basically Insomnia in some ways. So I have to say a big thanks to Larxian for providing me with a lot of information towards this. I am so excited for it. It's one of my most anticipated KH3 mods as of right now. Please be sure to show Larxian some love, and also if you just want to keep up to date with this project, I will leave Larxian's YouTube channel in the description down below. As I was saying, they do development streams. They're super interesting, so you should definitely catch one at some point. However, guys, that's all for today. Be sure to follow me on my other socials, links in the description down below. Also, remember to subscribe if you haven't already. I have noticed that a lot of people that are watching the videos aren't even subbed. Why is this a thing on YouTube? That's really interesting. Don't be afraid. Subscribe. I don't bite, I promise. However, guys, hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm Cynical, and we'll talk real soon. Peace.